Halloween 2018. Guys, don't mind my cat. He's on my shoulder because he wants to be. He'll come and go as this video progresses and... oh, there you go. See? So Halloween is directed by David Gordon Green, and I believe it's written by him along with a few other people. And it stars Jamie Lee Curtis along with Judy Greer and the original guy who played Michael Myers in the first Halloween. But other than that, there's really no notable actors in this movie. So I guarantee most of you have seen it by now because it's past Halloween. I'm a little past due talking about it. So I'm going to go ahead and go full spoilers towards the end of this review because there's a few things I want to talk about that I feel like if I don't get into spoilers, I will have no way of talking about them. So this new Halloween movie follows Jamie Lee Curtis playing the same character she played in the original movie. And this one like retcons everything after the first movie. And I don't know if you remember, but 20 years ago, this movie called Halloween H2O came out, and it was like, oh, we're going to retcon all the movies after Halloween 1, and this is going to be the true original Halloween sequel. And now, 20 years later, we are retconning that movie along with all of the sequels from the original, and they're saying, oh, we're going to retcon all the movies after Halloween 1, and this is going to be the true original Halloween sequel. This one follows Laurie Strode, and she's older, and you can see how the thing that happened to her in Halloween 1 has affected her entire life, along with her children and even her grandchildren. You know, she's gotten all old and wise, and she sets up traps, and she's really overly cautious, and you can tell that for like 40 years she's been planning the inevitable return of Michael Myers. And there's a bus that crashes with Michael Myers on it, and now he is set free in the world, and he's killing people, and Laurie's trying to protect her family. And that's the basic gist of this movie. Now I'm going to get into if I liked it or not. And it's hard to tell because there's aspects of me that say I loved parts of this movie and aspects of me say I hate parts of this movie. The movie opens up with, and you saw it in the trailer, it was these two journalists or live streamers, podcasters, I don't exactly know what they are, but they go to Michael Myers in his loony bin and they just hold up his mask behind him where he can't see it, and it gets really jarring. And the opening scene, I was not gripped at all. I was like, this was a terrible opening scene. It was just weird, and it wasn't creepy, it wasn't funny, I don't know what it was going for, but it was just there. And then you get into Laurie Strode's story where you learn about her and her family, and the movie starts to get a bit more interesting. I like seeing where Laurie Strode is. I like how the Michael Myers attack affected her. I like seeing what she has become, and I like seeing what she's done to her family. Like, there's an aspect where she and her daughter don't really get along all too well, and I thought that added a great extra like layer to this movie, especially towards the end. But the movie likes to really heavily focus on her granddaughter going through a bunch of high school drama, which whenever it would switch back to that, I was never truly invested like I was whenever Jamie Lee Curtis was on screen. Jamie Lee Curtis is easily the best part of this movie. If we're talking about characters that are good, Michael Myers was also really good. They didn't Rob Zombify this character where you make it all about him. They actually made him like a mysterious being whose face you don't see again. Like, I loved that shit from the original one. I like knowing Michael Myers is just a personification of evil, not some kid who was raised by a bunch of white trash screaming assholes. And at the start of the movie, there isn't a whole lot of violence. It's kind of slow to begin with, and this is actually a plus to me, because once the violence starts to occur in like the beginning of the second act of the movie, it's really brutal, and some of the kills in the movie actually really entertain me. And another thing that I really enjoyed was the fact that there was some kills that you don't see on screen. They're like, you see the aftermath, and that's even more horrifying than seeing it, because like, Michael Myers does some fucked up shit, and it just lets your imagination tell the story as to what occurred there. And another thing I absolutely adored is this movie really put in some shots that reference the original movie. For people that are hardcore fans of the franchise, like myself, there's a shot where Laurie's granddaughter's in school and she looks out the window, and outside she sees Laurie standing in the distance instead of Michael Myers. That shot really impressed me. There's a shot where Michael Myers throws Laurie out of a window, and when he looks down, Laurie's gone. It's like the same shots, but the roles are reversed, and it really was cool. But like I said before, for everything in the movie that I loved, I feel like there was also something in it that I just hated. For example, there's a character who's obviously supposed to be the new Loomis, who I think is just so horrible. He's literally one of the worst characters I've seen in any movie this year. And towards the beginning of the third act or the end of the second act, there's a scene where after he runs over, and spoiler alert, after he runs over Michael Myers, he gets out of the car and like kills a police officer and then puts Michael Myers in the back seat of the car with Laurie's granddaughter to like test him or whatever. And then he's killed 10 minutes later, and this whole subplot is just completely ignored. This scene was so pointless. Like, I get they're trying to like throw something extra in there to keep the audience going, what? But it didn't really have me going, what? In a good way. I was kind of just completely confused by why they even put that scene in there. I just felt like if you took that scene out of the movie completely, actually if you take this character out of the movie, it would make it so much better. And by the third act, things just start happening that are weird. Like, I don't know how to describe it. There's just a lot of scenes that don't feel like they need to be there. It goes from being a really good, intense moment to being something just really unnecessary. And like I said before, all of that subplot with Laurie's granddaughter and her prom and boy issues, I didn't care. At first, when I was introduced to her granddaughter and her boyfriend, I thought that, oh, this guy's a douchebag, he's just someone for Michael Myers to kill in the movie. No, we don't get to see him die. He's just kind of in the movie for a little bit to be a douche, and then he causes one little thing. He makes her lose her cell phone, and then he's not in the movie for the rest of the movie. It's just like he's a plot device. He's not even a body to add to the body count at the end of the movie. He's just a fucking plot device, and it's boring. I did not care about her granddaughter. Every time she was on screen, I'm like, go back to Laurie and her daughter. That was a more interesting dynamic, and if the movie would have just focused on them, that would have been a lot better. And I could talk about the bad humor. Like, there's some moments where I was like, this humor is kind of working, like it's making me laugh. And then there's other moments where I'm like, this humor's not funny at all. It's actually really awkward. It's not like as bad as Insidious was at the beginning of the year. Like, the humor in that movie made me want to actually shoot myself. This was tolerably bad. It was written by Danny McBride, so it's like his level humor. Everyone was expecting this movie to be great. I wasn't. I saw the trailers and I thought it was going to be mediocre. I thought it was going to be okay at best. So I'm pleasantly surprised to say that the movie is better than I expected. But what I expected was another Rob Zombie type Halloween movie. So saying this is better than that, it's like saying Halloween H2O is better than Halloween Resurrection. It's like a yeah, no shit, that's not really saying a lot type of thing. So as much as I can complain about how stupid the second and third act of this movie get, there are enough redeeming factors about the movie to give it a positive rating. So I'm going to say Halloween is a B-. Could have been better, could have been worse. It's the most interesting slasher movie I've seen all year. I think it's the only slasher movie I've seen all year. But yeah, if you're looking for just some mindless, bloody entertainment, this is definitely the movie to go see.